Hi, I'm Dad.
And I'm Kristen.
And today we're going to drive and review the 23 Ford Escape. The 23 Toyota RAV4. CRV. Chevy makes one that's gray.
Today we're going to rate and review the 23 Nissan Rogue.
Nissan Rogue, that's what it is. All right, is it cool?
Or is it crap?
Okay, 2023 Nissan Rogue. Well, this has a very interesting engine in it. It's a 1.3 liter variable compression engine. And all that means is that the cylinders have low compression when you need it and get power, or high compression when you want actual fuel efficiency. And so that's unique to this engine. It has 300 patents to it. There's a 2-liter version of this as well, and it's been in the Nissan Rogue since 2022. In Canada, we get the old 2-liter in the base engine, in the base model, and here they get the 1.3 crazy engine, which has had some issues, and that's part of the problem with this vehicle. Is they've had, the NHTSA is investigating engine failures based on bearings, L bracket. It's super complicated, and it only gets a little bit better gas mileage, so I'm not sure about it. It still also has the Jatco CVT or Jatco, and that's also been a problem. And though they say since 2019 they're supposed to be getting a little bit better. Has LED lighting on the base model, which is really nice. Has a strong grille, which I kind of really like. And the side looks pretty good too.
Great. We've got 17-inch aluminum rims on the side. They look pretty good. We've also got some cladding along the bottom half here. Maybe makes it look a little more sleek. I'm ambivalent. Couple silver accents. Looks like a normal SUV.
Yeah, but it's got unpainted mirrors, unpainted handles, no roof rack, but it looks pretty good with those rims, I think. So what do you think of the back, Kristen?
I'm similarly ambivalent about the back. This back looks like every gray SUV I've ever seen in my life.
That's the problem. This thing looks like everything, and I guess that's what sells. And the gray color, I can't tell you how many gray SUVs we've seen here in Disney World, but it's thousands of them. And so it does have, though, the rear sensing piece, even in the low model, which actually will brake your car instead of you hitting something. So that's pretty good. And oddly enough, it has a proximity key sensor, but only for the hatch. So if I walk up, I can undo this, but if I walk to the doors now, they'll be locked. So I'm not sure why they chose the hatch, but I guess if you're going to choose one thing, maybe that's the best thing.
Maybe.
It does have a space-saving spare instead of the little compressor gizmo that you put in there with the goop. And so that's good, because then you know it always will work. Even if you have a really bad tire slash, then you can still at least move along without that kind of thing. All right, so is it a Ford Escape? I don't know. Honda CRV? Maybe. Toyota RAV4? Possibly. No, it's a Nissan Rogue. Okay, Kristen, we're doing the interior a little bit differently this time because we are in Florida driving in the heat and it's super hot outside.
Yeah.
So we've had this thing now for, let's say for a while. We've had it for like 5 or 6 days. Interior, let's talk the interior.
Sure. So the things that I like about the interior are actually the two-tone. I do like the two-tone dash.
Oh, you changed your mind.
No, I didn't dislike it. I just don't think it's that special.
Okay.
It looks like a BMW was your quote. I don't know if I agree with that. I think it looks nice.
I think the shape looks a little BMW or
Maybe.
old BMW.
Like, I like that it's soft touch. I like the two-tone dash. I don't like this discount carpet on the side.
Discount carpet. I have to disagree with you. I think I like the change of texture and color, and maybe it reminds me of, maybe old slippers. Is that better than discount carpet?
They're both bad. I don't like it. The infotainment screen is a little small. Like, I'm surprised. Like, this is what? Is this a 2023 or 2024?
2023.
So yeah, it's really small for a 2023. I would expect, and I also don't like, when they pop out of the dash like that, I don't know, it just doesn't look super well integrated. I know a lot of cars
Everybody
do it,
does
but
that,
like,
and I do agree with you. It looks very tacked on. It's like you have a little bit of duct tape behind it. to hold it up there so it doesn't fall off.
Yeah, other than that though, like my opinion on things is that they're fine. I do like that the center console does like the split open method instead of like the full
I'm
open
not sure
method.
why I like that. Usually they flip up, but I like the fact that it just goes sideways and it doesn't get in the way of your elbow. I don't know, that looks a little classy.
Yeah, and then in terms of stuff that I've experienced, I was in the back seat for a fair portion of time, and it's not the most comfortable back seat. Like, there's a fair amount of room. I don't feel crunched, but the seat is just kind of
It felt short
stiff
to me.
and springy. Yeah, and my knees like hang over, and I'm not a tall person.
There you go. I just sat by there for a second there to see kind of how it was. No USB ports in the back.
No, just there is a vent for heating and AC, but that's really the only thing that you get in the back seat. There's two cup holders.
Okay, the air conditioning at least works really, really well, and it pushed lots of it in. It's been over 100 degrees here in Florida, so I've been pleased with the air conditioning in terms of that working well. This center console piece here, I do kind of like it. At first I felt it was a little high, and now I'm thinking it's okay. The gear shift knob looks a little classy, though it takes a little bit of getting used to in terms of pushing the park brake and then pulling it back and the reverse. I got used to it, but at first I was a little flummoxed. Well, that's a big word for me. Where'd that come from? Some book somewhere.
I think I used that yesterday and you stole it from me.
What I do like though is that there's a big, huge area underneath this gear section that you can put a whole bunch of stuff inside there if you needed to. Like, I don't know, like that's a big section down there. That's flipping big. I like the gauges. I know some people thought, oh, you look a little traditional, and you know what? I like dials. I like to be able to see things fast. I don't need to have 1,000 things distracting me in today's driving. I need to look out for other people who are being distracted by their driving and that kind of stuff. And so, yeah, I do like them, and it's actually quite clear. The middle section between the two, the tachometer and the speedometer, is very easy to move around from the steering wheel. And using arrows, it's super easy to do that. One thing I did notice, and I can hear it right now, is that we already we've got a wind problem in the gasket here on this door. I also noticed there's lots of little squeaks and rattles already, and it only has 7,000 miles on it. So I'm not sure if the interior is as quality as it looks. Is what I would say. We've got the cloth seats in here, which for Florida is pretty good idea, I think.
Yeah.
We've been sitting in there. If you want to get any, though, safety features upgraded, we've only got forward warning, backward warning, side warning. It doesn't have any kind of what do I call it? It's called Nissan Pilot, and you have to go up some scales of pricing for that. And in Canada, though, heated seats and heating steering wheel are standard on the base model, and we also have all-wheel drive as the base model. But the price is quite a bit different than the States. This thing is only $29 US, and in Canada, I think it starts at 37 Canadian. And that's even with the the dollar change there. That's a good chunk up. But you are getting all-wheel drive, and you are getting some options that this thing doesn't have. But I think the style is quite okay. I like that there's push buttons for a lot of things that are easy down here beneath the vents. And the vents are in pretty decent spots. They hit you nicely, not in weird spots. What do you think of this black?
I think that you think it scratches too easily.
Well, it's got a bunch of scratches on it. I just think that. It's full of scratches. At least it's not piano black like the buttons here. It would be a disaster. At least it does have some texture, and that's okay. So in terms of interior, though, it's okay. If I was going to buy this vehicle, I would spring for the SV model, which gives you the ProPilot 360 safety features, because that includes then lane departure and adaptive cruise control. Oh, it also has the auto on-off, which I don't like right now, and that's automatically on all the time. So you have to disconnect it on the left-hand side here if you want your air conditioning to keep on going in the 100-degree Florida weather, which is what we're doing here. I'm always confused when people buy these just as front-wheel drive anyway.
Well, if you live in Florida, why would you need all-wheel?
Well, would you even need an SUV that's not as good as a van for having space? The SUV is kind of a compromise anyway. It has a plastic steering wheel. I don't like the plastic steering wheel. Gets hot. Feels kind of crappy in my hands. My sensitive.
And it's not even heated.
And it's not heated. In Canada, it is. Canada, yay Canada. You know what, it's not just Nissan. Other manufacturers put in more stuff into the Canadian models seemingly than the US models.
But then bump the price.
They bump the price, yeah. So you've got to go to the SV, and then you still don't get heated steering wheel or heated seats. It's still an option. The SV will get you the safety features, and it'll get you some nicer colored mirrors and door handles and stuff like that. But they look almost the same. Yes, the SV from the outside look almost the same, and it's the same powertrain. So it's not like I didn't tell you a dad joke in Florida, but I double clicked on the record button so I don't have any video of it.
So I have to suffer more.
Even more. So I don't know if you know this, but I've been taking up beekeeping. And last week I went to the bee place and I bought a dozen bees. And I got home and I was counting all the bees and there was 13 bees. I felt bad that they gave me too many bees. So I went back to the bee place and I said, "Sir, I only paid for 12 bees and I have a 13th bee." And he says to me, "Oh, that's a freebie."
Thought there was gonna be something about like a beeker's dozen or something like that because it's not 13.
Oh, that would have been good to do. All right, driving this thing. It actually drives quite well. The steering's a little numb and the handling isn't awesome, but it is an SUV. It does look sporty on the outside, so maybe I expected a little bit more on the drive. This 3-cylinder engine, which is variable compression engine, which is supposed to give high power or high efficiency and switch between those two. It's a little actuator motor. I don't know all that, but I just know that it feels reasonably powerful. 200 horsepower, 225 torque. I like driving it as a CVT. And again, right now as a new car, I think it drives very nicely. Steering is very numb. Go around a corner, you can't feel much. And when we go over bumps, you probably felt it in the back there too. It felt very kind of harsh.
Yeah, the suspension feels a little bit.
And I was surprised because our Subaru has much more soft suspension. Yeah, I don't think this thing handles any better than our Subaru. I haven't driven every SUV out there, but it's getting really good gas mileage. We're averaging 30 miles per gallon US gallons.
Yeah, we haven't filled up once.
Yeah, and that's about 7.5 liters per 100. And we've been stopping and going, and not all on the highway. And on the highway, it gets quite a bit more than that. So I can't complain about the gas mileage. This is why they did this engine, was to get good gas mileage. But it's complex. It's a very complex engine. It's been, they're actually NHTSA is investigating some engine failures. It's like, oh, do I want all that complexity for 10% more gas? But again, it's a pleasant driving experience. I wouldn't rank it as being the best, and it probably is not the worst.
And we haven't paid for having 2 drivers on this rental car, so I'm not allowed to drive it.
I know, I never think about doing a car show until I'm far into the week and going, I know enough about this car to do a car show. All right, Nissan Rogue. Cannot donut.
Cannot donut. So, as always, we have a substitute donut for you.
Yes, it's a fancy one called a beignet, apparently. Well, I just think it's another donut. And it's shaped like Mickey's, which is quite adorable. And so, we have never had these before, so let's just try one.
Yeah, we'll try one without the sauce, to be fair.
Okay, yeah, okay, go ahead. Just real quick.
Okay, well. Ooh.
It's hollow.
Then you can fill it with filling. That's great. It's an opportunity.
Okay. Good or great?
I think it's good, and it'll be great when we add some dipping sauce.
All right.
And how does this compare to the Rogue?
The connection part. Well, the Rogue is pretty good, but it's like every other SUV out there. And it's also gray, which is like almost every SUV out there. And so they make a million of these things a day. And therefore, that's how it's like the Rogue. It's pretty good. There's a million of them. And that's kind of how
It's just like
works.
every other car.
Every other car out there in the parking lot. All right, dipping time. Okay, this is gonna have to make this. It's gonna change from pretty good to
Right.
Right. All right, does it rate segment. Here we'll find out what specifically is good and possibly suspect of the 23 Nissan Rogue, which will also be the 2024 model as well. 25 is expected to be released as a new model, perhaps, obviously in 2025. So reliability. Here is the big sticking point on this vehicle. 2008 up to 2019, the CVT in these cars has been pretty bad. Like, there's even a lawsuit and money being paid back. And so I would not buy a used one of these, at least till 2019. There are a lot less problems with 2019s and up. And they do say they've been working on the CVT, and this is supposed to be the best one yet, but is it still any good? The engine sounds like a fantastic idea. Variable compression, never been done before on a mass scale. Won Ward's top 10 engines a couple years ago. It's pretty cool in terms of it changes compression ratio from 8:1 to 14:1 when it's required, based on a little electric motor that moves a little L-arm that changes the height or the depth of the piston going in the cylinder. And so that's fantastic, but was it worth it? It gets a little bit better gas mileage than a 2-liter. I bet you the 2-liter is going to last a lot longer. So reliability, I'm going to go on past and give it 1 out of 5. Practicality, well, it's an SUV. Should be practical. Rides a little higher in case you need to, go over a couple bumps or something, or some snow. And the hatch is as large as any other of the classic cars that it's against. So backseat room's good, but wasn't very comfortable. So practicality will score high, 4 out of 5 ice cream trucks. Fuel economy. We've been getting about 31 mixed US gallons, miles per gallon. So that's pretty good. That's close to 40 Canadian and around 7.5 liters per 100. So fuel economy, 4 out of 5. Safety. Well, for crash test safety, it's pretty good. Has a few problems with overlap, small overlap, and another small area in terms of head, but it's pretty good. 4 out of 5 for NHTSA and IIHS safety picks. The low model does not have the Nissan Pilot safety features, and that way it's sort of bad. I would go for the SV version, which you would get that safety features. This one only has front and back alert and brake. It also has side mirror alerts for lanes, and that's pretty much it. Adaptive cruise control, nope. 360 cameras, nope. Lane keep, nope. So this particular model is kind of low on that. So for safety, it's missing all that stuff and not perfect. I'm gonna get 3 out of 5 ice cream trucks. Performance. Well, acceleration, pretty good. Torque, low end, pretty good. It actually has a nice sound to it. 3-cylinder has a bit of a growl, much nicer than a 4-cylinder engine. And braking felt a little touchy at first, but maybe it had just been sitting around, a little bit rusty discs there, and it seemed to have smartened up as we had it over the entire week. Handling feels numb, and it doesn't have much feedback at all, and cornering is kind of mediocre. So 3 out of 5 ice cream trucks. Tech. This is the low model. Again, missing Pro Pilot. Only plug-in Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Small speaker systems. 8-inch display screen. Only a mediocre backup camera. So the base model, not so great. 2 out of 5 ice cream trucks. Quality. It feels nice. The touch feel stuff and the nice, I say IKEA, maybe IKEA cloth in the inserts in the doors, I like it. Two-tone dash, again, looks a little upscale. It's not great, but it's okay. We did already have a wind noise somewhere in here in the gasket, and odd rattles with only 7,000 miles on it. So it's okay. 3 out of 5 ice cream trucks. Aesthetics. Well, I think the interior looks really nice. Reminds me a little bit of a BMW way it crosses the front dash. I like the looks of the gauges. Really, actually, probably love the looks of the gauges. Easy to see, easy to read, know exactly what's going on. Thumbing through the different variables with the thumb switches and the dials on the steering wheel is great. And so, yeah, outside looks like everything else. It looks a little chunkier than some. It has, you know, it has a bit of the widened out fenders, so that looks okay too. Looks a bit tougher than some of the other SUVs out there, but again, 3 out of 5 ice cream trucks. Finally, value. Here's the problem: the car costs the same as Honda CRV, Toyota RAV4, Ford Escape. Does it do anything better? A little bit better gas mileage. That's about it. Doesn't have more storage, doesn't look substantially different or cooler, doesn't have more features. I wouldn't buy the S version for sure. Not with all the safety features missing and all the just plastic, you know, accents. There's no, everything gets painted, at least on the SV. And then you can have some other options as well. It's very different between the US and the Canadian market. And so at least, you know, I would like some roof rails too. So for the S model, I'm giving it 2 out of 5. Might be a little high actually. Yeah, I'll give it 2, just kind of, I'm on vacation and having a pretty good day.
Welcome to the Does It Compare segment, where we try to compare the Nissan Rogue to a few of its competitors. There are so many competing vehicles in this class, we actually had a hard time choosing just 3. The Nissan Rogue is somewhat rugged looking, powerful, and very fuel efficient for a non-hybrid. We felt it had an interesting interior and appreciated its numerous tactile buttons. Its towing capacity is only 1,500 pounds, and unfortunately, its CVT reliability history is very poor, and its current engine is complicated and is also under investigation. Numb handling, no hybrid options, and on-demand all-wheel drive are some additional drawbacks. The Toyota RAV4 is the best-selling mid-size SUV in North America. It sports legendary Toyota reliability, various engine choices including a PHEV, high resale value, and a user-friendly infotainment system. If properly equipped, it can tow up to 3,500 pounds. Customers complain about its unrefined base engine, average interior room, and reactive all-wheel drive system. Honda also has a history of making pretty reliable vehicles, and the CRV is no different. It has a hybrid option, upscale interior, and high resale value. It's saddled with a 1,000-pound towing capacity, a somewhat sluggish CVT transmission, and also has a reactive all-wheel drive system. Finally, the Subaru Forester beats to a different drum. It boasts a full-time symmetrical all-wheel drive system, spacious interior, high reliability, and can tow 3,000 pounds. Unfortunately, it has no engine options like a turbo or a hybrid, though rumors suggest 2025 might bring a hybrid. It has sluggish acceleration and a congested infotainment system.
Okay, I know it's tough to always give these things ratings because some things you would buy and some things you wouldn't, but is it a turd? Is it a ice cream truck? Has it got anything valuable about it?
I'll dole out a singular ice cream truck.
Okay.
I debated when I was buying a car, this was one of the cars that was in the running, and I didn't buy it despite the fact that it was cheaper and but larger.
A used model?
Nissan, yeah,
Okay.
used Nissan Rogue versus the used car that I purchased. And I didn't end up buying it simply because I do not trust the CVT transmission whatsoever. So if I'm not going to buy a car, I'm not going to give it a high rating.
Fair enough. Yeah, I too think about the fact that this costs almost the same as a Honda or a Toyota. And even if they fix the engine problems, and even if they have to fix the CVT problems, it's not going to have as high resale value. And that kind of cuts into me a little bit, because I would go, well then why would I buy it versus the others? It's getting a little bit better gas mileage, but I'm taking a risk on the engine and the transmission. And again, it doesn't look substantially fantastic. It doesn't drive fantastic. It's okay. And so I'm going to give it 2 ice cream trucks, which is just a little bit higher than you. But that's okay. At least it's not a turd. It could be worse. There we go. That's our slogan for this vehicle.
Could be
worse.